to the Redheaded Witches podcast. I'm Crissy.
And I'm Jennifer.
And together, we are the Redheaded Witches. We are coming to you live from deep inside the cave beneath the Redheaded Witches.
Live? I think it's funny that you say live because most people wouldn't be live if they were over 300 years old now, would they?
They wouldn't, but most people aren't witches.
Witches? Are we really witches?
Well, let's leave that up to the listeners to decide.
Sounds like a plan.
It sure does. So, we have a year-round costume store here at 1910 Del Prado Boulevard in Cape Coral, Florida. We've been here in this location since the fall of 2012. Our location is actually an old funeral home.
Which makes it rather interesting from time to time, considering the things that go on around this building that most people wouldn't believe, but the people who do believe really believe. All kinds of creepy things happen.
They do, and then sometimes they ask us if we get scared being here. Are we creeped out being here? But we like to look at them and say things like, creeped out? We take naps on the back couch back there.
Absolutely. It feels like home. This is the home.
This is our home.
Of the Redheaded
It's the
Witches.
home of the Redheaded Witches.
I love it here. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
No, I wouldn't. So that being said, we're a year-round costume store. We've been here in this location since the fall of 2012. Lots of things have happened since then. Business has grown. We have expanded.
Lots of things have happened even before then. We've actually been in business since 2008. We were originally a seasonal store that just operated for the months of September and October, and that was quite the hard work because we would have to find a new location every year and put the inventory in, take it down, try to sell it in between time. It was quite an interesting task that we had for the first 4 years.
Not to mention the very first year where our store location was
not in a not so savory part of town.
No, it wasn't a very savory nor safe part of town, not to mention the woman who was trying.
Are you talking about that voodoo priestess?
Yes, I believe she thought she was a voodoo priestess.
Girl,
we used to look outside the window and see her at the traffic light dancing, looking like she was putting a spell on us. I don't know what she thought, but we're the Redheaded Witches, and you're not going to put a spell on us.
No, absolutely not. She was trying to do some crazy stuff, but it did not work out to her advantage, I just want to say.
So we decided we needed to find a better location, which we did. We found a much better location, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We stopped being the little fish in the big pond to being the only fish in the only pond in Cape Coral, Florida.
Our first pop-up store location was actually right next to Rainbow Records, really cute little place. We were excited to move in there. Had a lot of work that needed to be done, but we were excited for a new storefront, and I'm telling you, that was a really cool little seasonal shop.
That was the first feeling of, hey, we're onto something here kind of type of a thing, because that was the biggest location, although it was only the second location. But we had already been through so many things. As far as the first year, 2008, I had my son Noah, who is now 7, and then in 2009, as we were preparing to get into our Rainbow Records, the location next to that little store, that little shop, there was somewhat of a tragedy, someone very near and dear to Crissy.
The largest tragedy of my lifetime, let's just say.
Yes, I would say so too. She perished in a car crash. So what happened with that was, I looked at Crissy and I said, we've been through so much, and I totally understand that you're heartbroken and devastated, and if you do not want to do the Halloween store this year, I understand, we can take a break. And she said to me with these tears streaming down her face, there's no way we cannot do the Halloween store, Missy would want us to do it, and we're going to do it no matter how bad it hurts. And I said, all right, girl, that's my motto. She's like, all right, let's do this. And I always say, okay, all right, girl, let's do it.
And we did, because there was no way we were not going to, because there was no way that I was going to sit there and sulk lonely with nothing to do.
You wouldn't have been lonely, girl. That hurts me. That cuts real deep.
Okay,
Why?
well, with nothing to do, I would have had nothing to do. I needed to occupy my time. Plus,
I could have occupied
plus
your time.
the fact that she would have wanted us to continue on. So continue on, we did.
Yes, we did.
And we persevered, and we had a really cool season there. Our first season in Cape Coral was very cool, and it was a lot different than, you know, the year prior to. So our second year was a very cool year, and it was like the beginning of something. It was also the first year that Dawn came to us, and it was the first year we had an FX makeup artist.
That's the truth. And that was like the first year when we kind of got a taste of what success was and what perseverance meant, and in the face of heartbreak and tragedy. And so that kind of propelled us to, all right, we can do this, and we're going to do it. So we did it. We did it, and we were pretty happy. We were pretty happy at the end of that.
Yeah,
until the first week of November was over, and we had to pack everything up and store it away.
And store it in my garage, and my garage became nothing but a storage unit, and I couldn't even put my car in there. Oh my God.
You talking about that car that you've crashed 6 times?
Well,
that sexy ass car that you've crashed 6 times?
That car is still there.
She can fly a broom, but she cannot drive a car.
Hey, I never claimed to be able to fly a broom very well either, but when you're up in the air, there's a lot less things to hit. So once we moved into our third location, this is actually an interesting story. So our third location was actually our fourth location too, because we managed to stay in the same building for 2 years in a row, which was pretty damn successful the second year being in that location, because we finally understood what it was like to have people know where you are. So we had a sense of home, and the second year people already knew we were going to be there. So they came back to see us, and we honestly anticipated on being there again. But
for the third year. But it didn't quite work out that way.
No.
Another business kind of moved into that location during our off season, and so we were like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do now?
Right, what are we going to do? But you can't blame the realtor for signing a 3-year lease compared to a 3-month lease.
Not at all. And then it just so happened that a friend of a friend said, hey, I heard you girls were looking for a place for your Halloween costume store, and you have to check out this building. And this building, we're like, okay, we were open to anything.
Office building is what he called it. Office building. And we thought, what the office building? Seriously, we can't be in an office building.
But at that point, we were so very desperate.
Because we had to be on Del Prado. We'd always been on Del Prado. It is extremely important to be right there in the hubbub. So there were not many options.
Not to mention, we had a boatload of inventory stored in the garage of Crissy's house that we really needed to sell. So we found this location, and it's just really weird. The very minute we pulled in the parking lot and got out of the car, it's like this draw just pulled us to it. And that was the biggest undertaking that we have ever had to face. And there were walls that needed to be taken down and walls that needed to be put up, and
plumbing pipes.
Hung. Yes,
plumbing pipes that were just cut and broken from the vandals who destroyed the building before we were even in it, when it was vacant. And I remember distinctly the day getting the water turned on, and you know what, in my head I said, I need to go up to the building, because what if these psychos just left all the knobs in the on position? So I'm thinking I might come to the building and the faucets would be running. I never in a million years thought water would be gushing out of broken pipes out of several walls in the building. No, I didn't think that.
At that point, I don't think it was the psychos. I think it was the spirits.
Well, it could have been that too, but
probably
nonetheless, somebody cut out the copper pipe. And those somebodies probably pawned it for money. So we had many of obstacles to set this building up, but we sure set it up now, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Because we weren't going to give up, and you don't tell the witches no.
Oh, no.
And you don't tell the witches don't, and you don't say can't, because we don't like those words.
No, we do not. They do not sit well. You do not back us in a corner, because we will come out fighting. And you know what? We always have, we always will. And every single year, someone will say to us, I cannot believe you girls are still in business. I cannot believe you're still here. And we're like, really? We have never had a single moment of doubt. Well, we have had a single moment of doubt. There has been doubt.
Yeah, there's been doubt.
But there, somewhere in the back of our minds, it's always been, we don't let the doubt saturate the positive or take over, because once you do that, then the game is over. So you have to always keep your eye focused on the ball, on the goal, and you just do your path.
And there's days
forward.
where it's harder than others, and there's days where it takes a lot of concentration and it takes a lot of willpower to remain positive and to be happy and to wake up and say, you know what, we can do this. And it's hard sometimes, but here we are, and we have done it, and this is 3 years now in this building, and each year our business is busier and more successful, and our sales percentage goes up, and the amount of people that come in is greater, and it's more exciting every single year.
Yeah, 3 years in this building, but 7 years total. We're approaching our 7th or 8th season.
This is going to be our 8th.
Of being in business. And we've gone from, have you heard of the Redheaded Witches? People saying, no, not really, to, oh my God, aren't you one of the Redheaded Witches? And we've seen your store. And so people know us now. We're starting to become a staple of the community, and that's really, really awesome, because it shows when you put in your hard work and your effort and your diligence, that it does pay off. I mean, that really is not a lie. It's not a bunch of just crap that people spew out. If you work hard, stay focused, it pays off. It pays off.
It does. And being established is just an amazing feeling, to be an established business in the community and be doing things for the community. It's not like we just sit here in the store hoping people are going to come in, because if we did that, we probably wouldn't have as many people come in. But we are out there. We put ourselves out there. We do events and functions, and we volunteer, and we're members of the chamber, and anytime we can help, we do.
We've done fundraisers here. We've held a fundraiser here for our makeup artist, Laughing Jack. His precious little girl has scoliosis, so we held a fundraiser for him and his family to help her with the surgeries that she needed.
Which was actually cool. It brought in real known professional wrestlers. We had Jake the Snake Roberts here at our store, and Mr. Outrageous, and that's not something we've made up. And the news came out for it, and it was a really, really cool event, and anybody who was into wrestling would agree. It was a very cool event.
I had to admit, I forgot about Jake the Snake.
How could you forget about Jake the Snake?
How could I?
How? Oh my God.
Forget about Jake the Snake. Do we still have his picture?
We have his picture, yeah.
We need to frame it.
We have his picture. You know what?
Charles
still has the photo probably in his phone of the three of us. We don't have it anymore.
Oh my goodness, girl. That may not be a photo that needs to surface.
And what about the fact that this place used to be an old funeral home?
Yeah, actually it did. I do believe that it was built in 1983 to be a funeral home. And there have been lots and lots of
bodies.
Well, yes, bodies. There's been lots.
Bodies?
Obviously, considering it's 2015, so there have been lots of bodies that have passed through here over the years, spirits and essences, I guess you could say. But we've had several situations where customers come in the door, and you can see as soon as they walk in, you can notice that they kind of have a look about them, or they're somewhat apprehensive, or you can see that they're lost in thought. And then after they walk around and they'll speak to me or Crissy, or they'll, you know, kind of become comfortable, they'll say something like, well, my aunt came through here when she passed away, or my brother or my dad, or there was one person who had a son who came through here, just different things like that. So you can kind of, people who have been in the community for a really long time know the history of the building. And so when they come in, it's kind of different for them to see it in, even though it is a costume store and we kind of gravitate towards the Halloween season, we are year round, but they seem to kind of like the fact that it's a little more upbeat, it's a little more happy, because the last time they were here was a very sad type of a tragic situation.
It is. It's like creating a new memory. So maybe the last time you came in here was, like you said, it was a tragic situation. I mean, if you came to a funeral home, that in itself is, you know, a very dramatic and sad and
yes,
tragic experience. But if you can walk into the door and all of a sudden now here it is, it's a fun store, like it's a costume store, you could be somebody else, you can dress up, we can have fun, we can leave reality for a little while.
Yes, the energy isn't so heavy or daunting, so to speak. But
not anymore. But when we moved in here, boy, was the energy heavy, and
yes, it was
very heavy in itself.
Unbelievable. Like you could like, we moved here in August. We started our renovations in the end of July, beginning of August of 2012. So it is brutally hot in Southwest Florida, and you could be standing at any given time, any given moment in the building, and there would be a coldness that would come over you that would make the hair on your arms or the back of your neck just stand up, or there would be sweet smells, which this building, even now 3 years later, people will walk in and there's a very vivid smell to them of the building, because it's so old and because of all of, you know, just the things that have gone on as far as solutions with embalming and things like that. You can tell, you can feel it in the air. But once you're here and you've been here and you're here day in, day out for all this time, there's just, you know, you walk through a cloud of sweetness, or you walk through a cloud of chili, or
right, or you just notice
changes.
One day you pull in and it doesn't seem so kooky, but yet another day you pull in and you're just drawn.
I think it's hilarious
because in the front room,
yes,
like I've been petrified to leave the front counter, and it's gone on for hours in a day where I just stand there and I just can't, and I've had to pee my pants, and I've called and I made the call, can you please come here because I really have to go pee. Why won't you go pee?
Yeah.
I can't go pee because I'm really scared. Why are you scared? I'm scared because I'm just scared. Will you just come here because I just feel like I can't go down there, because
you have to literally walk from the south side of where the store is located to the north side.
And that's what we call it. We're going to the north side.
Yes, we're going to the north side. And in the process of that, you kind of maze and weave through the building. So there's literally different energies and different feelings and different types of things that you have to embrace. And there are days where the energy is high or the energy is low, and you really don't know until you hit the door. But there are times when you're standing at the front counter and you can hear a squeak of the kitchen door, and you're like, oh, well, whatever, that happens all the time. And then there are times when...
Or there's times when you're in the embalming room, like me, and you see something or someone, and
sure
you
you're not
see
having
the
an
same
acid
one.
flashback?
I'm not having an acid flashback. It wouldn't be a flashback all the time. You don't always see the same person in an acid flashback. Anyways, so moving forward with this podcast, some of the things that you could expect from us would be special guest stars, and we do have a couple of special guests lined up. We'd actually like to bring in our friend who does paranormal activity investigation, who's actually done one here. So future, you can expect to see him. We have an amazing FX artist who we'd like to bring in too.
Who, by the way, Face Off invited to submit a video last season, which he did submit the video. He did not get accepted, but they did ask him to resubmit, so hopefully he does this year.
Exactly, and he was asked by Face Off. He wasn't just a random person, so
Yes,
that's
did.
really cool. That's really cool for Don, and he's the one who's been with us ever since we moved to Cape Coral.
2009.
So each year he gets better and better, and his FX are just amazing.
Yes.
They are.
I know, I'm impressed, and people seek him out year after year. They book their appointments months and months in advance for ZombieCon.
People are already asking for, hey, have you started taking appointments yet? And I'm like, appointments yet? No, we don't have any yet, but we,
For ZombieCon, which
Right.
ZombieCon this year is going to be 1980s apocalyptic type of thing, which ZombieCon here in Lee County, Florida has turned out to be the largest in the world. I do believe, right?
Yes, we've had the Guinness Book of World Records here.
Yes,
it is
we
one
have.
of the largest zombie gatherings in the United States, and anyone in Lee County knows about ZombieCon. It
I think
boasts
anyone in Florida.
23,000 people per event. It's massive. It's the largest event we have here in Southwest Florida.
Imagine 23,000 zombies walking the streets of downtown Fort Myers at any given moment during the night of ZombieCon, just doing their thing, dancing, laughing, having a good time. It's really, really cool. It's, the ZombieCon people have done a lot as well to bring a lot to this community and do a lot of fun things. It's, Southwest Florida is no longer this little mute part of the world. We've become quite known. It's like a little hidden paradise that's no longer hidden.
The hidden gem exposed out of the oyster shell.
And who exposed it? The dark side, girlfriend.
The dark side brought it up. So you guys can expect to see
the dark side brought the light.
more guests. Also, we just wanted to let you know, any of our local viewers, that we do a sidewalk sale. It's called our summer sidewalk sale on Saturdays. So if you're interested, check out our website. It's redheadedwitches.com. You could get some more information on other special events that we do here on an average basis.
Aren't we supposed to be doing some sort of special thing for the podcast listeners as well?
Right, we do. We have a very special discount for any of these podcast listeners.
And what is that discount, you little witch?
Oh, she just called me a witch. Is that legal or illegal? I don't know. It's almost like just saying,
going to be
you little Irish woman.
What's wrong with being Irish?
Nothing. What's wrong with being a witch?
Nothing.
So anyways, if you come into our store and you've heard this podcast, you may mention at the register, what?
Spit it out, girl.
What?
We heard you witches. We heard you witches, and you said you were going to give us 15% off.
On our podcast. Just mention podcast. If you come in and you just mention that you heard us on the podcast, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase.
Sounds good, girl. Sounds
So
real good.
stop on in and see us sometime.
There's going to be more to come from us witches at the Redheaded Witches Halloween. Year-round costume store. 1910 Del Prado Boulevard, Cape Coral, Florida.
Check us out. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and our website, redheadedwitches.com.
Oh, and don't forget Redheaded Witches TV.
That's right, our YouTube TV.
That's right.
Hexes and O's.